Hey, friends. This is Martine Williams, and I am obsessed with all things mompreneur life and helping you to remix your priorities, your habits, your mindsets, and yes, even your relationships so that you can build a successful business without losing yourself in the process. I'm also obsessed with the color turquoise and lyrics of the 80s and 90s, but that's beside the point. Girlfriend, you don't have to hustle 24/7, 365 and continue to sacrifice your health, your relationships, and your sanity to be a successful mompreneur. As a small town girl living in a lonely world to a six-figure mompreneur, I am here to teach you how. There is a better way, and this podcast is your one-stop shop for all of the how-tos, the encouragement, the life hacks, the success tips, and of course, a little side of tough love. This is the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. So let's do this. Well, happy Thursday, friends, and a brand new episode of the podcast is here for you today with a special guest. Allie Casazza is my turquoise talk guest today, and just to tell you a little bit about her, you may know her from her book, but she is on mission to help women level up in life, motherhood, and business while becoming the version of themselves they desire to be. She has cultivated a massive audience and a multi-million-dollar online business based on her proven action-taking approach to simplicity, decluttering, and energetics of running your life and or your business. Allie has started a movement that is spreading like wildfire. So as I said, she is an author of several books, including the #1 bestseller, Declutter Like a Mother, host of The Purpose Show, a chart-topping podcast, and the creator of multiple online programs that garner thousands of registrations each time they run. Allie has received praise for her method on major media platforms, including the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and the Today Show, and Good Morning America. Her platforms continue to grow every day as more women discover her life-changing approach to creating a truly abundant life. She is a desert-dwelling mom to 4, plus her English bulldog, Phoebe, in Phoenix, Arizona. You will love this interview, just how real and raw she is, just sharing her story. That's why I love to bring, mompreneurs on, Turquoise Talk guests on, just to share their wins, share the highs, their lows, and everything in between. So I know you're going to love meeting Allie as much as I did. So without further ado, let's do this. Well, welcome back, friends, to the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast. I'm your host, Martine Williams, and your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And today we have another amazing Turquoise Talk guest. Y'all know I love bringing on mompreneurs or entrepreneurs just to kind of share their stories, to share their wins, share their challenges, because I think the more we understand, it's hard work being an entrepreneur, right? And we're a different breed of people. It's the biggest personal development journey you will go on. So I love having guests on. So thank you so much, Allie, for coming on to the show today, just to kind of talk with us casually about entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I am an open book. So
awesome. Awesome. Well, let's just start with just, a little bit about you, how you became an entrepreneur, your family, where you live, all the things.
Yeah. I've lived in Scottsdale, Arizona for almost 2 years. I'm originally from Southern California. And oh my gosh, I got married when I was barely 20 years old, had 4 kids in 5 years, did all of that. I kind of recently, about 2.5 years ago, my ex-husband and I decided to get unmarried, and that was a whole big thing. And had people kind of scratching their heads and not understanding. So we could talk about that if you want. But it was just our personal journey coming out of very oppressive, very cultish school and religion growing up, and then just really unpacking our relationship and doing what felt right for our family. So we have 4 kids. My daughter's 14 right now, and my sons are 12, 11, and 8. And we all moved out here to Scottsdale together, and we live nearby each other. So we're just doing the co-parenting thing, and it's going so well, and it's sunny here and beautiful, and the taxes are better. So I'm happy. But my business, I started the business. I mean, gosh, I've been blogging and in this kind of online space for about 12 years, a little over 12 years now. But it's been about 8 years since I actually turned it into a business and was monetizing really myself, my way of thinking, the things that I'm learning, it's very much a personal brand, but I have turned it into, since starting it 8 years ago, it's turned into really like a very like a trademarked methodology for women, for moms specifically, of life coaching, of living better, of simplifying. Kind of started out as the decluttering queen.
Mm-hmm.
And then that idea of like simplification kind of just started spanning over every area of life. So yeah. And now I have the Becoming Her Collective, which is a membership, and all of my coaching goes over there now. So it's a lot simpler behind the scenes to run and a lot more fun. So yeah, I'm an author. I've got a #1 best-selling book called Declutter Like a Mother. I host the Purpose Show. That's pretty much everything I've got going on right now.
That's a lot. And 4 kids in there. So yeah, little ones. I mean, mine are 15 and 18 and both boys. So I'm a boy mom. And, one of the things about simplifying is, I mean, when you're raising kids and you're trying to grow a business, you really do have to hone in on like, what are the most important things, right? Like, what are the most important things for my children, for me personally, to make sure I'm taking care of myself. And then also like I have a business that I'm trying to run. So what has your thought process been around, and kind of how did you get to that point where you realize like, there's got to be a simpler way for me to do this and start decluttering? Was it like your physical spaces first, or was it like, yeah?
Yeah. So for me, my business comes from my story, and I was very niche down to like the physical space. Your physical environment is the basis of everything. It is affecting unconsciously all the time, everything you do. So that is still step 1 in my method. That's still the basis of everything. But my story with that started, I had just had my 3rd baby. So 11 years ago. And I brought that to my blog, just sharing that like I was so overwhelmed and I was noticing a huge increase and improvement in my mental health by getting rid of clutter. And then years later, I ended up writing an article called How Getting Rid of Our Stuff Saved My Motherhood that went like mega viral. It was #1 on Twitter and Facebook. It was trending over the first Hillary Trump debate in 2016. Reporters were talking to us because it was just this crazy, not so crazy, but crazy idea that we just have too much stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not that deep. We have too much.
It's the simple things in life, right? That make the biggest difference.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, from there have taken this idea of like, we just overcomplicate things. Mm-hmm. I think that as women, a lot of the time, what I see in working with clients and in, my past unhealed self, we overcomplicate things because on a subconscious level, we're trying to prove our worth and earn our worth. And we can do that. We think we can do that when we are doing a lot. So if things are very peaceful and calm and easy, we don't feel like we're doing a good job, because isn't being a good mom about running around with your chicken, like a chicken with your head cut off, making dinner, wiping boogers and butts, cleaning the bathroom, doing the laundry, running the business, making money. Like it's so complicated and chaotic because that is what we're comfortable with. So I really started to look at, well, why? Why is it like that? And what has to be done for me to thrive and do what I want to do? So simplifying things even down to like my eating, like I'm just going to eat whole foods and not have anything that's processed. Then I know my hormones are going to be okay. My body's going to be balanced. I'm going to be at the weight and the health level that I want to be at. So I can just focus on my business. For my business, I'm going to just focus on showing up. I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to show up in my podcast and then take that podcast and turn it into social content, and then take that social content into an email and really just pour my heart and spend 2 hours a day on my business. That's all I've got. That's all that it took to hit 7 figures. So I just think we overcomplicate because we think it has to be complicated. We buy into that belief. And then on some level, we are trying to make it look like, look how good I'm doing. Look how much I'm doing. Look how much it's so hard. Look, I deserve this bubble bath. I deserve this girl's trip. You deserve all of that because you exist. You don't need to overwork yourself to prove anything.
Yeah. I was just having this conversation with one of my coaching clients who, now that she, the work that I do with her, fully understanding what her true strengths are, what her gifts are, like what her zone of geniuses are, like she's no longer having to try to prove to her, direct report at the school that she deserves to be there. She knows, like she's like, I know who I am now. I have the confidence. I can walk into that room and I'm no longer trying to prove to myself first or to her. Like, I know now these are my strengths and I deserve to be there. And it is such an exhausting process when you feel like you have to prove that you're this amazing mom. You're this amazing mom because you're taking care of your children, and how that looks and how you run your business is probably very different than the way mine looks. Right. Mm-hmm. But like you said, we overcomplicate the process, and we think busy is, means we're being productive, and it doesn't. You can get busy doing a lot of things as a mom and a lot of things as an entrepreneur, but is it really getting you the desired result that you're looking for as a mom, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, as a friend? And so it's that slowing down process. I don't know if you see this with your clients, but that slowing down process to really hone in on what is it you really want? What are you really good at and gifted in? Like, how can you show up and be the best mom in your own unique way and shine bright as you are? That doesn't mean you're diminishing someone else's, but you get to show up and stop proving, because proving is exhausting, especially when you're trying to prove to yourself, like you're trying to do more, thinking, well, if I do more, then I'm doing what all the other moms are doing, which they're all burning out. Mm-hmm. They're all burning out.
That's the opposite of what I want. I don't want to be like the other women. Yeah. I don't want to be what's typical. Anytime that you're in the energy of proving or in the energy of convincing someone of something, whether it is in your romantic relationship, like, look what a good partner I am. Look how hard I'm working. I deserve this rest. I deserve for you to take over dinner and bedtime for me tonight. Or in marketing, like trying to prove that your new offer is worth the money. Like, it is not going, you are putting, it's like you're chasing, you're forcing. And by the way, like the law of the universe states, like, if you're chasing something, then it must flee. So you're literally pushing away what you actually want. So instead of being in the coming from a place of trying to prove, trying to convince, trying to chase and force, be in a space of just embodying who you really want to be and how you really want to feel. Be in an attraction space, attract the right clients. And you do that by embodying what they want. If you are embodying what they want, then they know you have what they need to get there, and you don't have to prove it or convince anyone. So anytime you're coming from a place of proving, you're actually getting the opposite results of what you want and pushing things away.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, friend. So you have been trying to make some shifts this year. Maybe you set some resolutions and you're just feeling stuck. You don't feel like you're making progress, or you're just not sure what to do. And you've heard me say this before, but being stuck is a mindset, not a position. And this is where a coach comes in to support you. Because here's what I know to be true about you, friend. If you could have done it alone, you would have already done it, period. And as a life coach and a certified PDP professional, I specialize in using a research-based personality and performance survey called the ProScan to illuminate how your unique personality and natural strengths, your work and life environments are influencing real-time performance. So here's what you need to do. Go to the link in the show notes and book your free clarity call to learn more about how I can support you in your goals. I can't wait to illuminate your strengths, cultivate your confidence, and elevate your life. So, I know that there's always a mess before the success. And, I'm sure there's things you have learned over the years as an entrepreneur. And that's what I love about this podcast. It gives other entrepreneurs, mompreneurs who are maybe thinking about starting a business, but they're afraid or they're fearful of the failure, of the mistakes that we're all going to have. We've all had them. But was there one or two things like, now that you wish you would have known in the very beginning of building your business that you can share with them?
Yeah. I mean, aside from what I just said, all of the times, like, that alone is a huge one. Like, all the time I was trying to prove that I'm like, oh, my stuff is good. My stuff is good. Come, like trying to convince and like chasing clients, chasing customers. It was exhausting. And I think like, let's like piggyback on top of that for the number one thing that I regret and that was a mess for me. And that is on social media. Coming from a place of, look at me, look how perfect everything is. Look at like how good I'm doing. Like, I was treating myself like a product and having to make myself like really shiny and perfect and like vanilla to make sure that I was liked by a lot of people, so that a lot of people would come and like me and be nice to me and not say mean things to me, which, spoiler alert, they did anyway, and buy my stuff. And what I've learned is the mess is the marketing, like being real and showing up like showing up in the realness. Of course, there's a line. Of course, there's boundaries, and you deserve to have privacy and you can share whatever you want to share. But there were things that I was going through that I really wanted to share and I felt compelled to share, but I didn't out of fear and out of trying to, like we said, trying to prove, trying to convince.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes is just it's self-betrayal. It's inauthenticity in your brand and on your socials. Especially for me as a personal brand. I think it's a bit different if you're, like an Etsy store or something like that.
Right.
But I mean, then if that's the case, take this into your relationships. Where are you being vanilla? Where are you hiding and trying to project an image instead of just letting the walls come down and being your true self?
Yeah.
It just is exhausting. It doesn't feel good.
No.
And then I would say the second mistake that I made, just trying to do too much, trying to be everywhere all the time. I see this a lot. I run a monthly recurring mastermind with a small handful of women. And we were just talking about this yesterday because a couple of our members are just repeatedly like, okay, but like TikTok is just not working. Like, what's the strategy? What do I do over here? And it's like, girl, you're not even where you want to be with Instagram. Like, if it's not working, you're forcing, you're trying to do, you're just trying, I get like repurpose your content and put it both places. That's fine as well. But don't obsess over one thing when you're not even really where you want to be over here. Let's really pour intention into one thing. I just wish that I would have understood that I don't have to do it all. It's okay to go slow. It's okay to go deep before you go wide. So really diving into one or two courses and making them massive, and one platform like Instagram and making it massive, then branching out. Like, I wish I would have understood that was okay. It would have just saved me a lot of stress and yelling.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And given it enough time to work. I think sometimes we get frustrated because, the growth isn't happening as fast as we would like it to be, but slow progress is still progress. And if you keep jumping all over the place, then you're not giving that one thing time to work before you're moving on to the next. And then you're restarting the whole cycle again.
Exactly. And I think when things really changed for me and money really started to flow and things started to feel good, it came because I got out of that state of being and shifted into a place of groundedness. And I started speaking life over my business and like declaring out loud that I was going to have this amount of followers, this big of, reach, and I was going to be getting these results in my content, and I was going to be getting this amount of money a month, and just focused on one or two things at a time and started like just deciding this is going to be successful because it's on my heart and it's a desire. So that means it's automatically mine. So I'm going to claim it. And I am going to speak life over this and desire. And I just kind of started getting into this place of like, of course I make that much money a month. Of course I get clients every time I open up space, of course. And, funnily enough, it's like you create your life with your expectations and your thoughts and your words. Like that's what we're focusing on the membership right now. Your words create the house and the business you live with. Be careful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like a lot of, I guess, energetic shifting that really made the difference for me.
Well, and that's the work that I was just interviewing someone before you. We were talking about like, that's the kind of work that we don't spend enough time on. We get into the tactical to do things on our list, but we don't spend the time managing our own emotional energy, managing our beliefs, our thoughts, all of those things. Our behaviors are born there. But we get into the behaviors and the do, especially if you're a high achieving mompreneur, and we forget about, but what are my thoughts? And are those thoughts actually dictating the actions that I want to take? Are they giving me the feelings that I need to take the actions that I want to take in my business and in your relationships, whatever? We can apply this to anything, but this is just the work that most people don't slow down long enough to do. They just want to get into action.
Exactly. And it's crazy because the action is actually the after of all of the like emotional, mental, energetic work. Like you're going to feel more inspired to take that action. And it's going to go better because you're taking care of the energetics behind your business, which is actually everything. Yeah.
And I wonder why, because there's a lot of information about this out there. I mean, there's books on it, there's podcasts on it, there's, but is it just, from your experience with your clients, do you feel like it's just, they don't want to take the time to get into the emotions of it? Or is it like, oh, that's just for those people? Like, what are you seeing with I have my own thoughts, but what do you think Your
I think
client.
it's a mix. I think it's a mix of both of those things and probably several other things. But the biggest thing is the time, and it's hard. You're leaning into difficult emotions. You're leaning into what's dark. You're leaning into the hard stuff, and that's not fun. It is
No.
much more enjoyable and it makes more logical sense, and it kind of like feeds our ego minds to
Yeah.
like just focus on strategy and marketing.
Yeah.
And like, oh well, like I just bought this template and they said it's $10,000 a day template, so I'm just going to focus on this. Well, you don't actually have the energetic capacity to welcome in $10,000 a day,
Right.
so you're going to be blocking it, so all this work you're doing is for nothing. So yeah, and I think also like I think the things that are unseen are frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people just avoid it. They get overwhelmed. They don't want to invest in a coach. They don't want to work with someone on it. They just want immediate results, and they want to be sitting at their computer busy because it makes them feel more productive, but it's faux productivity.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. I just want to sweep under the rug all the emotions, that go along with that because, I don't want to feel those things. But I think, one of the things that I heard just recently is if you're willing to feel anything, you're willing to do anything. And so you have to face those fears, and you have to face the thoughts that you're having about your business or about yourself or about your habits or about your relationships, whatever it is. You have to face those, work through them so that you can, like you said, energetically show up differently in your business. That's going to attract people. You're able to be more real with yourself. And I think if you're in this journey right now and you're listening and you're like, God, this is making so much sense. I need to pause and do that. Like you said, with some boundaries, I think when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to kind of share because you're still figuring it out for yourself. But once you're on the other side, like that's the time you reach back and you pull somebody up with you and you bring them through that too. So you show them what the process was and how you worked through that. And that just gives people the same courage that you needed to work through that.
Exactly. You don't have to be like 10 years ahead. You only need to be like 2 steps ahead to help somebody. And like even little things that are unrelated. Like I've been sharing on social media that I've been like healing from a relationship that I ended after my marriage. I met someone and just ended that. And that really has nothing to do with what I teach, but I'm showing the actual live process of things that I do teach, like EFT.
Yeah.
I'm a certified EFT practitioner and I walk my girls through that all the time in the membership. So like just showing like, I'm really emotional this weekend. It's just been really hard. Like I'm wondering if I made the wrong decision. And like, I'm just going to tap through those emotions and clear that energy out. And so that I can have clarity and free myself, and showing them that self-freedom and self-care practice in a live thing that I am really going through right now. I'm not 2 steps ahead of it. I'm in it right now.
Yeah.
So I think just that personal balance that feels good. There are certain things that I go through live that nobody knows about, and then I never will know about it. It's not, I just don't feel comfortable to share. So you are in charge. You get to pick. You don't need to feel afraid or pressured. But when you do feel like I kind of want to share this, but I'm just afraid of judgment. No, like that's not you. That's what we want to push through.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we know we've all heard this. Probably people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And if they don't know you, right, because you're not sharing, like I said, you don't have to share everything, but share more of you than your products and your services that you provide, because people want to get to know you. They want to see you go through some of the things that maybe they're going through or have been through. It just makes you real. People are done with the phony, fake marketing. They're done with the, picture perfect marketing. They want to see real people dealing with real stuff. And all of us are doing it. We're all going through our own real stuff.
Exactly. They need someone brave enough to just show something, and they need something to connect to about you. Yeah. Because no matter how good your products and services are, nobody really cares. They want the feeling that it's going to give them. And how can they know the feeling of what it is to be in your energy and work with you if you're not really showing them who you are? Yeah.
Yeah. And they're also thinking, how is this going to help me? Right. I mean, like, what's in it for me? So, I mean, they're definitely thinking about that. And when you're sharing your realness and your rawness, then that kind of gets them that connection. So with, the 4 children, the building the business, all of the things, I'm sure burnout has come up at some point, maybe for you and everybody experiences that on a different level. And so I always like to ask my guests, because someone may be listening today and she's either in denial that she's in burnout, or she's like, no, I've got it all together. What has your experience been with burnout? And then if you have, what did you do to kind of work your way out of it?
Yeah. I have experienced burnout several times. I would say my pattern has been about once a year. I get a big wave of burnout. And for me, it just shows up in I'm normally like a healthy version of me is I am a content creating machine. I cannot stop thinking of ideas. That is why I ended up with so many courses and had to just table that whole model and switch to membership because it was literally too much content. I'm excited. I'm energetic. I have a lot of ideas and I can't turn it off. When I'm burned out, that completely goes away. And then I have like a full calendar and a full Asana task list full of all of the things to do from all the ideas I've had, but I don't even have energy to fulfill those things. Are you familiar with human design at all?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay. Yeah. Well, for those listening that are familiar, I'm a projector. So we are meant to be leaders and we have a very small energy tank. So like a few hours a day and we can get a lot done, like more than the average person in that time, but it is a very limited energy reserve.
Yep.
And I'm introverted. So when I can be excited and energetic, but it is draining that tank.
Yep.
So when I'm burned out, it's like I have absolutely no tank. It's already limited and I really have to plan around that to honor myself. But now it's like almost non-existent. I definitely get a little depressive when I'm burned out and I just want to like be in bed, do nothing. I get into avoidance mode. I just kind of like let the list stack up. I cancel interviews, I cancel things, and I just don't want to deal. And I've come to learn like the reason is because you always want to get to the root of it. Like yes, burnout, but like what, why, what do I do? You know? And the reason for me every single time is when I am not giving myself enough play. The importance of play is something that I both love and hate. I hate it because it still feels somewhat useless to me. Like I don't want to need play. I want to work. I'm an Enneagram 8, like the snowplow, push through, pave the way for everybody else. There's a lot to do. I don't have time to take a freaking dance class. Like I don't want to do this. And so but isn't it interesting that that would be my weakness as a human? Because it's the lesson I'm here to learn. So I do take dance classes. I go to the gym and I only do things that I enjoy. I go for walks with my friend by the lake. I do silly little things like take my daughter with me and we go take our English bulldog to these like puppy yoga classes. Like just stupid things that are like, it's just fun. I've been, playing more, taking myself to dinner, trying, different like bottles of wine at the restaurants here in Scottsdale and like just getting dressed up for myself, like enjoying, when I am not in the energy of pleasure and joy enough, I will get burned out.
Yeah.
Because we're not meant to continue to work. You're not a workhorse. You're a human.
Yeah.
So things like the biggest thing I've done is about to happen. I booked myself a solo trip for a whole week with mom guilt and everything in Cancun. And I'm about to go. I'm leaving on Friday and I am riddled with guilt. I'm working through a ton of stuff, but I know like I need this right now. So this is the next level of like playing and taking, and I've always loved dance. So doing that, I joined a softball league last year and like played there because I played growing up. Like, but this is next level. This is like, oh my God, I'm literally like inconveniencing people to go and take care of myself.
Yeah.
That's growth for me. But things like that, like I worked all day, every day. And if I wasn't working my business, I was working on the house. I was helping the kids with their homework. I was, I'm my role in my personal relationship is always life coach. Brian is my ex-husband. We have these really deep conversations and we like life coach each other and talk through things. And it's so good, but like I'm meant to do more than just help everybody all the time. In my last relationship, I felt like a coach in some ways. Right. So it's like, I got to get out of that and just go be in the sunshine and put my feet in the sand and have a godforsaken margarita and like just enjoy something. Like it's crazy. So that has been my burnout strategy. And I've been doing this for a year and I did not have burnout this year. The past 12 months, I missed both of the times of year that I start to kind of feel it. Nothing hit me. And I have just been playing infused with my regular life.
Right. Which is how we were intended to be. We're human beings, not human doings. And, people are burnt out. It's not because you're doing too much. It's because you're doing too little of what actually brings you joy. And, I know for some, they're like, well, I hate my job and I can't control that. Well, you can start working on getting out of that job or, pursuing a different job. But it's more about, like you said, what are you creating in the environments around you and the things that you're doing for play, and not everything. I don't know where we went on this belief, but believing that everything we do has to have a productive end. Like it can't be just for the sake of fun. I don't know where we went wrong or where that happened, but we've all been believing that lie for so many years. Like you said, it's just kind of in you. And so I remember when I was being coached years ago, and I was being coached on, because I'm like you, I would work like zero margin in my life. I would work from the time I got up to the time I went to bed. My dad was an entrepreneur. Like I've always worked since I was able to work. I have been working. And my coach, I remember she was, I hired an assistant, my first assistant. And I'm like, so now I have this time. I'm like, what, this space, like, what am I supposed to do? And she's like, whatever you want to do. I'm like, what do you mean, whatever I want to do? She goes, that's why you're hiring help. You don't need, more money if it doesn't give you more time, you don't need more money. So more money gives you the opportunity to hire someone so that you can focus on not only the things that you're really great at in your business, but things that you want to do for fun to replenish yourself. And that was really hard. Like you said at first, to like, okay, I've got this block of time. Now what? What do I want to do with that? And I find so many women that I coach, if they do have an extra 30 minutes or an hour in the day, they just try to fill it with more work, whether it's more work on the kids or more work on their business or more work at the house, like you said. And it's like, we don't even think about what would I want to do for fun? And it's been so long since they've done that. They don't even know what they like to do for fun anymore. They've completely lost themselves in the process of pursuing their goals. And that's a huge mission that I'm on with the women that I coach. So thank you for sharing that, because I'm a firm believer in that. We don't have enough fun and play in our life.
I think we even turn in like working on ourselves and like taking like self-care has even become kind of a task now.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So it's like literally like you just defeated the whole purpose. like the other day, actually it was just yesterday, I just went out. It's really hot here right now. We're in like the devil's butt crack months that like nobody wants to hear. But I just went outside in the backyard anyway and just stood out there and put my face in the sun and just felt it. And like, this is going to sound kind of weird, but like I was only out there for like 5 minutes, but I just literally felt like there was a million things I could have done. The laundry needed to be switched. It was beeping. I hadn't fed the dog yet. I needed to be getting ready for an interview. There was a lot going on. And I just went out for 5 minutes and put my face in the sun. And I started to like literally feel like connected with nature and connected with myself. Like the rays of light were just like hitting my face and permeating my body. And it grounded me so much. And I felt like that was so dumb and small. And it literally like shifted my energy for the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how long has it been since I went and put my feet in the earth and my face in the sun for a few minutes? Like, no, I'm always inside. I'm always working. I'm always at the computer. So just, it doesn't have to be Cancun. It doesn't have to be a dance class. It can be just going outside for a minute and breathing.
Yeah.
Turn on music and dance. I take these like classes where they teach you like really simple, like sexy dance routines. And it just reminds me of being like, I danced and played softball together my entire childhood and teen years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it reminds me of that. Like I read somewhere that your 30s are for doing all the things you loved when you were 13, but you're not being shamed for it or judged for it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I started, like, I learned those routines and I'll just like turn on, I don't know, Nicki Minaj or Lizzo or something. Just start like, dancing in the living room instead, like purposely leaving the dishes for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. For
like,
sure.
It is so easy and simple, and we don't need to overcomplicate self-care or turn it into a task. It is about pleasure. It is about joy and being a woman and being in your body instead of in your mind going and doing every second.
Yeah. Yeah. I love to dance too. And in the last year I was taking hip hop class. I kind of got out of it over the summer, but I love to dance. And I definitely believe in dance breaks throughout the day. It does completely shift your energy. I don't care if you're in the car, if you're in your office. And when I'm working with clients and they kind of have that blank look when I'm like, what would you do for fun if you had, an extra hour? And they look at me like a deer in headlights. I'm like, okay, what did you enjoy doing as a child? Like just go back to those days. Cause when you were a child, you didn't care. You didn't have this long to-do list. You were a big dreamer. You were thinking of all these things that you wanted to do for fun. You did them without any worrying about what anybody said about you. You just did them, and so it's a great place for you to start. If you are listening to this and you struggle in this area, take some of the things that we're saying and go back to, like, did you play kitchen as a child? You probably want to go take a cooking course or have a class at your house with some girlfriends and bring a chef over. If you took dance or did softball, there's adult leagues for everything these days, because I think people are finally starting to understand we deserve to have fun too. It's not just about the kids.
I just ordered a pair of rollerblades because that's what I used to do too, is I just rollerblade all the time. I'm going to look like such a fool. Like this curvy girl just like going down the street in rollerblades, but I'm so ready for it. I got a Super Nintendo and I play with my boys because I used to kick ass at Yoshi's.
Oh, yes. I showed my boys that the other day. I'm like, y'all don't even remember.
No, I'm like amazing at this. This is real video games. Like just that, like be silly. Like play and laugh. It's just not that serious. My God.
Right. Yeah. We definitely take it too serious. And I think it's the fine line between we love what we do. And so it's easy to just keep doing it, over and over and over again and not taking any breaks. But there are other parts of you than what you're doing in your business. And so
because those parts need space.
Yeah, they do for sure. So tell me what you're most excited about in your business right now. Like, I know you're going to Cancun and I'm super jealous. I'm so proud of you for doing that. That's a big step. Like, I've never taken a solo trip myself.
I'm scared, girl. Like, I'm like, what if I get there and I freak out? Like, I'm by myself. First of all, sleeping by myself is still new to me. It's still weird. Yeah. I love it. Like, I just like starfish in the bed. I don't have to share. It's nice. But sometimes it's like weird. Like I grew up so quickly and got married right away. Like we were basically teenagers. So like, it's very weird to be alone. I noticed actually the biggest reason I ended my relationship, because I still love him very much. I don't know if it's over for good, but one of the biggest reasons I ended it is because I don't know how to be alone. Yeah. I was not trying to meet someone and get in a serious relationship. It was my time to work on me. Yeah. I don't know. The universe just plopped this walking green flag in my life. And I'm like, oh, here we are. But yeah, no, I just need some space. So I'm taking that and I take that seriously. So this trip is big. It's a really big deal for me. I'm fully prepared to like freak out a little bit. Like I'm in another country alone and in a hotel. Like I went to like it's a adult only resort and it's like a lot of couples. So I like won't bothered. I can just kind of like myself. Right. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm just going to bring a bunch of books and I booked it pretty last minute. So I still have like some interviews and work stuff. So I'm going to bring my laptop and just work from the room and I'm excited. And then other than that, I am all about the membership. It's the Becoming Her Collective right now. It's really new. Mm-hmm. And I am just like, we just started we have like areas of focus and they're not every month. They're like every, I don't know, I would say like 7 to 9 weeks because I'm walking them through my coaching framework and that takes longer than a month. But we're doing that right now. We're focusing on our words right now and auditing like how we speak, how we think. And using our words to create the businesses and the lives that we want and the relationships we want, taking a look at how we talk to ourselves, which is really intense so far. Yeah. But so liberating. Like, oh, no wonder I feel like crap all the time. Right. And anxiety and depression. My inner monologue is toxic. Right. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that and really excited to have a space where I get to grow alongside all of these women and coach them at the same time. That's awesome. Well, I know you're doing amazing work with women and I appreciate you taking just a little bit of your time today to come here on the podcast and share that with everyone. We could talk. You're so easy to talk to. We could talk for another 3 hours, but you have work to do and a trip to get planned for. So I'm so excited for you. And where's the best place for people to connect with you? I always send people to Instagram. Okay. That's where I show up on my stories. I kind of treat it like a little daily vlog. I answer my DMs as much as I can. I'm really present there. So if you want to connect that way or ask me questions or talk about, working together, getting things simplified for you, whatever you need, that's where I send you. Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll put the links to everything so you can connect with her on Instagram, her website, all that. But thank you so much again for coming on the show today. I hope you have a fabulous trip
freakouts and all. They're going to happen, but that's okay. You're a big girl. You'll figure it out.
Yes.
I know you will. And you're going to come back.
And all the hard emotions.
Yes. And I'm really excited for the breakthroughs you're going to have on that trip. I just feel it that you're going to have some major breakthroughs and just show up even better for the ladies that you serve. So thank you so much for taking the trip and taking the time to come on the show today.
You're so kind. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, friends, we'll catch you on the next episode. And y'all know I'm believing in you always. Well, that's a wrap, friends, for this week's episode of the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. Thank you so much for listening and for following the show. It means so much to me. And listen, friend, sharing is caring. So if you loved this episode and thought of some fellow mompreneurs who could benefit, send them the link. Share this episode or take a screenshot and head on over to Instagram and share and tag me at Martine31Williams. We are connected on Instagram, right? It's where you will get all the fun behind the scenes of my life and business as a mompreneur. Until next time, know that I am believing in you always.